Our first guest is a writer who's never been afraid to tackle a tough topic. In her new memoir, This is the Door, The Body, Pain, and Faith, she explores the transformative power of chronic pain. We welcome author Darcey Steinke. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
So many people do experience chronic pain, but I think if you're lucky enough to not have that experience, it can be hard to understand.
I think that's really true. I think that was me. You know, I herniated a disc and I had a terrible year of pain. And I think before that, you know, I would see people on the street that had mobility issues and I would think, you know, they have a limp, you know.
Right.
But then after my own pain and speaking to others for my book, I realized it's not only a limp, they're also in pain.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And was your situation kind of a fluke with how you started feeling the pain?
I herniated my disc and I think really what happened is, like for my last book, I was carrying so many books in my book pack. Please don't do that. I was carrying 10 books in my book to my backpack, and I think I just compressed my spine.
Right.
And so I had about 8 months of just, I had never experienced anything like it. You know, it was
talk
really
about just
hard.
Standing in your house all day.
I had to stand all day because if I stood and if I sat down and got up again, the nerve would press, and it was just excruciating.
Excruciating.
Yeah,
and
it was really
to be
hard.
alone with your thoughts in that time.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of solitude and pain.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that I found about it that was so fascinating was that it wasn't, I mean, I think people should get rid of pain if they can. I'm not saying I'm in no way saying suffering is good.
Right.
But I'm saying we're all going to go through it.
Exactly.
Like chronic and then also patches of pain. And I think to think of it as meaningless is just wrong.
Right.
We can't just think of it as completely meaningless, right? Like, we have to figure out, you know, Dostoevsky said, like, how can I be worthy of my pain? Like, what are we going to do with it, right? Particularly after it's over, looking back, I think you can really think of those periods as kind of transformative.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and especially like you talk about in your own case, the empathy that you feel towards other people. Once you felt that pain, you can look at others and go, wow, they're really suffering and I can understand that better now.
Yeah, I think that's one of the amazing things about pain is it really opens you up it opens up your humanity.
Totally.
For sure, yeah.
Tell me about, you interviewed so many people for this book.
Yeah.
Physicians and people who had experienced their own forms of pain.
Right.
Which becomes kind of an intimate conversation with someone's telling you about their suffering.
I mean, it was really I mean, that was one of the most amazing parts of the book, how generous people were. And I can remember doing mostly on Zoom, right? I would do these interviews with people that had migraines, people that had back pain, I mean, all variety of people. And I would just turn the computer off and just sit in my seat, to my office in Brooklyn. I would think to myself, wow, that's amazing that they shared that with me. Like, it seemed almost kind of sacred.
Right.
You know, talking about our bodies and our struggles was really, really beautiful for me.
Well,
you know?
and it must be almost a relief, I would imagine, for some people to share, because you don't want to walk around talking about complaining, right? That's how we would maybe see it sometimes from the outside. But to have someone truly interested and say, hey, tell me about this burden that you're carrying. That must have been nice for them too.
I think so. I mean, I think to have someone hear your pain, to share your pain and to hear someone's pain, it's tough, you know? But I think that it's what brings us together as a community, right? I mean, if we don't share those kinds of things with each other, if we're gonna only share joy, I mean, that seems kind of superficial to me.
True.
Right?
Yeah. They both have to exist for them to have the meaning that they have.
Right, exactly.
Tell us about your trip that we hear about in the book to France.
Yeah, so I went to Lourdes. So I decided, my book is about the body, pain, and faith, and I thought that, Lourdes seemed like a nexus of those things. You know, people coming there who are suffering, who probably have some sort of faith system, right? They're in pain. So I went, and I was really blown away by it. It's like, I mean, the commercialization around it is quite shocking, so anyone who goes has to, but the place itself is really beautiful. It's kind of like this beautiful park. You know, it's where Saint Bernadette, she, who knows really what happened, but she spoke to the Virgin. I mean, you know, whatever you believe, you believe, but something happened to her. And she also dug up a spring, which is the healing water at Lourdes now. But the amazing thing about Lourdes is that there's no stairs. Every bathroom has attendant. It's huge. There's so much help for people that have mobility issues or have different kinds of bodies. You know, it's a really utopian place in that way.
Yeah.
That all kinds of people, no matter what's sort of their physical situation, can go there.
Yeah.
And I found the people I talked to there, they weren't really looking for miracles, right?
Sure.
They were looking for support for the things they were going through, right?
Yeah.
And also be also to be in communion with others.
Yeah. There's a great photo of a candlelight vigil that we see from that journey
That's
as
so
well.
amazing.
That's
That
so
happens
beautiful.
every night, and they sing, songs to Bernadette, songs to Mary. I mean, I have to say, I have some skepticism. My dad is a minister, and but I was just completely moved by Lourdes.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if you have to be religious.
Sure.
To be moved, because
Yeah.
it's so human, to end the kindness, to end the sharing. And that spring, which is, the huge cathedral comes off of it, like huge soaring cathedral. And the spring in the cave to where St. Bernadette saw her visions, it's very powerful. It's like our first things were like worshiping groundwater. I mean, water is somewhat sacred, right?
Absolutely.
So in some ways, you don't really even have to be religious to really feel it, like the sacredness of the earth, right?
It'd still be a beautiful experience.
It's extremely powerful.
I want to ask you about how you're doing health-wise. You had a successful surgery.
I did indeed.
But you still have some remnants of that pain.
Yes, I waited a little too long, like the pinched nerve, so I have a little bit of nerve damage, but no comparison, to what I was experiencing. I mean, we're talking about a couple times a week, some twinges. I mean, really like nothing.
And it sounds like you're really taking care of yourself, and you've taken up open water swimming.
Yes, that is.
Oh my goodness!
I'm so glad you mentioned that.
That's so cool.
Yes, I live in Brooklyn, and it's a 20-minute subway ride to Brighton Beach.
That's incredible.
And I can be in the ocean from my house in Brooklyn.
Wow.
Okay, like the city. I can be in the ocean, so I swim out about 200 yards. I was trained to do this.
Yeah.
And then I swim parallel to the shore. For it depends like how rough it is, how cold it is.
Yeah.
From between maybe half an hour, maybe an hour. And I'm telling you, it is the best. I mean, talk about spiritual.
I was just gonna say the same thing.
In holy water, right? I mean, this is a really fundamental thing, the water and being in the sea, and like you feel like you're something so much bigger than you. But when you get out, you're so high. It's such a natural high.
That is so beautiful.
It's so fantastic.
Well, thank you for sharing some of the book with us today. It was so great chatting with you.
I feel the same way.
Oh, thank you.
I think you're amazing.
That is so kind. Okay, I want to let everyone know that Darcey has an event tonight. She will be at Powell's Books on West Burnside at 7 o'clock. We'll have all that information on our website at katu.com. We'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.